More than 1,000 people have been killed and thousands more injured following a 7.7 magnitude earthquake which hit Myanmar yesterday. Emergency workers in the Thai capital Bangkok are running out of time as they try to find survivors beneath the rubble of an under-construction tower which collapsed during the earthquake. And the party continued on day 2 of the Hong Kong Rugby Sevens with a full house at the Kai Tak Stadium. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Quentin Yang. The death toll after the devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake, which rocked central Myanmar yesterday, has now gone over 1,000. With rescue efforts continuing, the country's military government has issued appeals for international aid and warned that the casualty count could rise as emergency workers try to find survivors. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Aftershocks continue to rattle Mandalay, Myanmar's second largest city, which is about 20 kilometers from the epicenter near the town of Sagaing. Collapsed buildings line both sides of the streets. Thousands of structures across Mandalay have been damaged, if not destroyed. Destruction of critical infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and railway is further hampering rescue and relief efforts. Mourning families conducted funerals for their loved ones who perished in the disaster. In the town of Amarapura near Mandalay, rescuers recovered 30 bodies from just one building. More than 700 people have been injured. The initial 7.7 magnitude jolt, which hit Sagaing yesterday afternoon local time, was followed by over a dozen aftershocks. The strongest one measured 7.5 on the Richter scale. Power outages were reported nationwide soon after. With critical shortages of both personnel and heavy machinery, rescue teams are digging through rubble with their bare hands and trying to reach survivors. Military leader Meng Wanheng visited injured patients at a hospital before touring Mandalay. The scale of the catastrophe has compelled the military regime to ask for outside help. Helaing warned that the situation in the impoverished country could get a lot worse. Beijing has announced 100 million yuan in emergency aid to Myanmar. This morning, an 82-member rescue team carrying specialized equipment and supplies departed the capital. This team follows earlier relief efforts sent from China, including a 37-member rescue team from Yunnan province, which arrived in Myanmar's capital, Yangon, today. Not lagging behind, Hong Kong also dispatched a 51-member rescue team this afternoon to assist in relief operations. Along with firefighters and officials from the Security Bureau and Immigration Department, the team also includes 2 doctors, 2 nurses, and 2 search dogs. Wishing for their safe return after completing the mission, Chief Executive John Lee praised the team's selfless dedication. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
At least 9 people were killed in neighboring Thailand when the earthquake struck, but that figure is likely to be revised. Around 80 people are believed to be trapped after an under-construction high-rise building collapsed in the capital Bangkok. Sharon Yuan reports.
More than 1,000 kilometers away from the earthquake's epicenter, iCable News team captured the harrowing aftermath of the high-rise structure located near the Bangkok's famous Chatuchak market, which came crumbling down. The 33-story tower, which was supposed to be Thailand's state audit office, is now a huge pile of debris. Family members of those missing can only wait and pray. Overwhelmed with sorrow, this man expressed his fears for 6 family members who have gone missing since yesterday afternoon. Authorities are keeping a tab on those missing and have urged family members to come forward if their loved ones are unaccounted for. A firefighter volunteer emphasized the challenges faced in the search for survivors at the towering structure.
Because the building is too big and hard, the volunteer cannot use the machine for destroy the building. If we use the person go to inside, it's dangerous for my team.
Engineers who were dispatched to provide support have urged for more specialized help from outside of Thailand.
We don't have this kind of experience. Of course, there are some collapse happened in Thailand before, but much smaller building.
He added that there is something wrong with the building, and a team of engineers will investigate the design and construction calculations. Thailand's Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has ordered the inspection on the safety and quake resistance of all buildings to brace for major disasters in the future. Meanwhile, a Hong Kong travel agency has cancelled all tours which were heading to Thailand next month. Almost 150 people were booked to travel. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Health Secretary Lo Chung-mau has defended the proposed hike in healthcare fees, warning that Hong Kong's high-quality system is under strain from an aging population and the soaring costs of advanced treatments. He insisted that simply hiring more doctors won't fix the problem, urging reforms to prevent wastage of resources and ensuring that care reaches those who need it the most. Jeremy Zhu has more details.
The government plans to cut overall healthcare subsidies from 97.6% to 90% over 5 years, but denies this is about tackling budget deficits. Instead, officials say the shift will better safeguard patients. Taking to the airwaves, Lo stressed that public medical resources are precious and should be used carefully. After the fee adjustments, he said the safety net for vulnerable patients would expand, becoming wider, stronger, and more comprehensive. Higher charges, he explained, could actually help more people, including middle-class families facing severe illnesses who may qualify for partial or full waivers. He said the additional revenue will also fund improvements to self-paid drug schemes, such as expensive cancer treatments, some exceeding $30,000 monthly, which could push families into poverty. From next year, emergency room charges will jump from $180 to $400, though critical patients remain exempt. Lo stressed that emergency rooms are not for minor ailments and urged the public to plan ahead for non-urgent care. Most services should be appointment-based, he said, to ensure smoother operations. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
The party continued at the Kai Tak Stadium on day 2 of the Hong Kong Sevens. The SAR men's and women's teams scored big wins to book their spot in the Melrose Claymores finals tomorrow. Sherry Yuan reports.
The Kai Tak Stadium radiated an electric atmosphere with its retractable roof wide open as excited fans poured in, showing off their most extravagant costumes. Among them were revelers dressed as their favorite cartoon characters, alongside local supporters proudly displaying the Hong Kong flag. Almost all seats were taken in the brand new stadium, with the iconic South Stand packed to the brim with a sea of enthusiastic faces. Fashionably late arrivals found themselves in a 2-hour queue to get inside the stand, but the wait was worthwhile for home fans who witnessed some thrilling performances on the field. Hong Kong men ran riot over Japan with a blistering 43-21 win. Captain James Christie came up big in the second half, rallying the team to success after falling behind twice in the first half. He credited the win to a team effort in scoring tries.
It was good beating Japan. They are big rivals, but we'll probably have one more game against Japan or China tomorrow, so we've got to recover and then come out fighting for that tomorrow.
Earlier, the SAR women's team dominated Thailand with a sweeping 47-0 victory. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
Landlords of the city's subdivided flats have been granted a 36-month grace period to upgrade their units to meet the requirements under the new Basic Housing Unit amendments. Violators will face tough penalties.
Under the Housing Bureau's latest proposal, landlords must register their units within a 12-month period and complete necessary renovations, including ventilation and size requirements before the deadline. New leases of non-compliant units will not be permitted during a countdown phase, which will begin 6 months before the grace period ends. Violators will face fines of up to $300,000 and 3 years imprisonment. In a radio interview, Housing Secretary Winnie Ho said, landlords cannot procrastinate. Like students with extra deadlines, some delay until it's too late, stressing that the extension balances flexibility with compliance. To streamline certification, the government has expanded the pool of eligible professionals to include fire and building services engineers. Landlords must bear the certification fees.
Israeli warplanes struck a residential and commercial building in Beirut's southern suburbs yesterday, marking the first major attack on Lebanon's capital since a fragile ceasefire with militia group Hezbollah took effect late last year.
The strike targeted a facility Israel claimed housed the drones for the Iran-backed militant group, escalating tensions in a region already reeling from renewed violence in Gaza. No casualties have been reported. The multi-story building was flattened and rescue teams scrambled through debris looking for survivors. Israel said evacuation warnings were given through social media and warning shots were fired before the strike. Israel said it was retaliating for a rocket strike from Lebanon, which was the second such incident in the past week. Hezbollah had denied involvement in both attacks. Israeli airstrikes have killed at least 18 people in southern Lebanon over the past week. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz warned Lebanon that if there's no peace in northern Israel, there will be no peace in Beirut either. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, who was holding talks in Paris with his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron, condemned the attack as a blatant ceasefire violation, while France called for urgent de-escalation.
On to the weather now. Overcast with a few showers tomorrow. Temperatures will range from 13 to 16 degrees. Expect persistently cool weather with a few rain patches in the next few days. And that's our news tonight. I'm Quentin Yang. Thank you for watching. Good night.